If you could walk away from your life tomorrow with no consequences and know that everything would work out, where would you go? Who would you become? And why is that version of you so unreachable right now? Let's chat. When we're born, we have no real sense of what we want from life as a whole. As kids, we know what we want in that second. Probably it's play or eat something or have a good time. But as far as understanding the longevity of our lives and the things that we have to do to make that life actually be long, we don't know what that means for us. And a lot of times, the adults around us, such as our parents, our school teachers, and society at large, will tell us what it is that we're supposed to want. We're told to go to school, get good grades, go to college, get the degree, go to work, and everything will magically be happy. All of this is the only option that is presented to us, so it's the only way that life is shown can be good. I myself followed along in this path pretty closely. By the time I graduated college, I was in the top 10% of my class, and I just found that it brought me nothing but stress, to be honest. I was stressed out with all the clubs I was doing to try and get into the good colleges. I was stressed out with the grades that I was trying to maintain to end up with the exact same diploma and exact same degree as everybody else who graded worse than me. I was overworked, overwhelmed, depressed, and you do all this school for what exactly? By the time I made it into the workforce, I realized working wasn't really for me. So then the 17 years that I had just spent K through college trying to get myself to this point amalgamated into nothing. And so I've been forced into a life that I now am starting to realize I don't really want to live. And I'm not even fully cognizant of what the other options are. So that leaves us with the unfortunate truth that once you start living your life, you find you don't actually want it. I've been thinking about the way American society is set up lately, and it really is set up to have you get from point A to point C with everyone having pretty much the same point B in the middle. And if you try and deviate from that path, there are a million roadblockers in your way to keep you from being able to do so. We are supposed to get a job. That's like the key of American life. And so much so that it's not just something that we need to survive, right? We need money to be able to pay for food, for the place that we live, for anything that sponsors our survival in this place. But it's also like culturally tied to worth and to your sense of self, in that people feel like the only good thing that they can do with their lives is contribute to society in some way. The focus on self-fulfillment, on self-enjoyment, on just doing what appeases you is not enough to be considered a worthwhile life. You have to contribute to society, and your contribution cannot be something like being a friend, being a community member, being a good neighbor, even like being in volunteer organizations that actually help broad groups of people in the community are often not considered enough. Contributing to society is considered something that you do through your job. Not having a job makes you useless, it makes you a bum, it makes you purposeless, it makes you aimless. It is a moral failing in this society. So then when you're someone like me, who has realized like working a job is not really of interest, you're not left with any options, both in the sense that I still need money to survive, but also in the sense that there is no reasonable or accepted way to live a life that I can look at, really, you know? If you don't like your job, you're advised to get another job. If you don't like your industry, you're advised to start a new industry. But if you don't like working, you're advised to get over it and do it anyway. And that just hasn't sat right with me. Even making this video, I feel the need to clarify what I mean and say things in a different way. Because saying like, I don't want to work for 40 years until I die, it makes it sound like I'm lazy. It makes it sound unrealistic. I've said this before to people in like the long, drawn out way of explaining how I feel, what I want for my life, the ways in which I think I could not work. And it's kind of like, if I explain it as I don't want to work, then it's unrealistic, then I'm lazy, then I'm entitled, then it's a problem. But if I explain it as I want to invest and make enough wealth and build enough whatever income and passive this and that so that I can live a free life, then it's like, oh, she's an entrepreneur. She's a serious bitch. Like, that's a whole different story, even though it's the same concept of just not wanting to do this. Why is it that when rich people take a month off to go to Aspen with their friends, they are just, enjoying the fruits of their labor and the rewards for their work? But when I say I want to take a month off of work and go to Aspen with my friends, I'm crazy, I'm lazy, and I'm unrealistic. There are lots of things in America that make it so that work is your only real feasible option. And it's not just work. It's this sense that you need to chase more and this tying of work to your entire life, right? Because how are you supposed to date and find a partner as a man if you don't have a good job? Or as a woman, you could not have a good job, but then you need a partner who has one. So either way, at least one of you has to be making this substantial income for this partnership to even be worth it. Marriage itself in America is a financial contract. It is just agreeing to tie your assets to somebody else. We are measured, in a sense, by the kinds of cars that we drive, the kinds of houses that we live in, our net worth, our asset count. And that all comes from money, which all only apparently comes from work. What job you do is tied into your worth as a person, and that people will feel more for a doctor and feel like they are more to society than they will feel for a garbage man. Even though I'm sure we wouldn't all be pleased if the streets were lined with trash because we had nobody to take it out and we were pissing in the streets like the Middle Ages. I'm sure nobody would like that, but being a garbage man is not the kind of job that the right kind of person has. So in a way, it makes sense that your entire life is dedicated to either preparing for a job, right, your school days, having the job, your working days, or enjoying the little speck of money that you have left over from working that job for 40 plus years, your retirement. It makes sense that life planning and like what you're supposed to do to set yourself up for a proper life kind of ends at a job, right? Go to school, get the good grades so you can go to college, so you can get a job. And then once you have a job, you will meet somebody and you guys will have everything you need and everything will automatically be perfect. A job is the key to life, obviously. But what if you follow this whole plan and you go from point A, you follow the point B, but you never make it to C? You are never able to afford your own apartment, better yet, your own house. You are still living at home. You haven't found the perfect person to marry. You haven't created this sense of fulfillment and self-worth and purpose that a job is supposed to bring you. You don't enjoy your job. You've tried different jobs and don't enjoy that either. And you're finding that this thing that was the cornerstone and the whole central reason for your life for the past pretty much entirety of your life is not something that you're interested in. Well, too bad. So sad, because you need that job to survive. Even if you want to go work for yourself, then how are you going to have health care? If you make enough money working for yourself to have health care, well, now you've got to pay taxes. If you make enough money to survive it all, you've still always got to work and always have to grind at this business. Only once you reach a level of such supreme wealth and automation that you don't have to do anything are you set free. But even then, there's still the societal pressure that if you are not working, you are not worth anything. And this is, I think, part of the reason why we see millionaires still doing stuff. I've always wondered why a Beyonce doesn't just say, you know what, I'm done. and just go live her life with her kids and forget all of this. But it's because this is America. And people don't do that here. You are never done working. People push off retirement despite having enough money because we are never done working. So if you're here and you're stuck in this life and you personally are done working, what do you do when society does not want you to be done and will not let you be done? The USA is the world's largest economy. We have the highest gross domestic product of anyone. However, despite being the largest economy, young people in the US ranked themselves as 62nd on the happiness index. That means that people in 43% of countries, people who may have less or may be more materially uncomfortable than you, those people are still happier than you. As I asked in the opening, if you could walk away, what would you do? I often want to walk away from it all. Just forget this life and try anew someplace else doing something else. But I often feel stuck every time that I sit down and try and think of what I could do differently or what my ideal life, what a life that is unique and resonant with me looks like. I feel stuck between my desires for both comfort, stability, but also just creativity and freedom. There is kind of this, dichotomy between the two where it seems like one cannot exist with the presence of the other, in that I could just say, forget it all, I'm going to quit my job, run off to Spain and just live in the Spanish countryside. But then where's the money? Where is the insurance that I'm not just having fun for a year or for this moment, but that I am building a life where all of the decades that I endure are decades that I'm happy to be there for? Where is even the security in having community, in having friends around me who understand how I am and relate to me and want similar things from life? Where is the security in sense of self and sense of self-worth and understanding that not only do I think I'm good and do I think I'm on a good path, but I have some sense of community within those around me, not in the sense that I need the world to validate my decisions, but in the sense that I don't feel like a crazy person out on an island alone. I see myself personally as a creative who doesn't have to niche down, doesn't have to pick an industry, can be creative in whatever ways that she feels fit at that time, who can take on fun projects and just explore with her creativity. I see myself as a traveler who sees various parts of the world, experiences different things, can learn a language or two, speak to different people that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise, and see more of what the world that I've only got this one chance on has to offer. I see myself as someone who lives for the moment and who is able to live for the moment, who's able to say, you know what, at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, I want to go for a walk, and I don't care about the board meeting. I don't have to be there for any clicking of any computers or any assignments. I get to live my life for me. I mean, I see this very idealistic picture of just enjoying every moment and breathing life into my existence, since it's the only one that I've got. But because I want this only existence that I've got to be enjoyable through and through, I find I'm having to make some compromises. And the biggest compromise that I can't really seem to make balance in a way that I'm pleased with is this sense that I have to trade my time for money if I want to survive. Plain and simple. That's the way that America is. That's the way that most of the world is. If you want to make it, you have to trade your time for money, because if you don't have the money, you will die. So I can't have my time be mine and trade my time for money at the same time. I can try to build up income streams that I enjoy, like YouTube, which is not an income stream for me right now, by the way. But I can try and find ways to have the time that I'm trading for money also be time that I may have spent doing the thing anyway. But that's just not easy. I've been on YouTube for 7 years and haven't made a dime. It's just not my reality at the moment. So I'm having a hard time figuring out how to build a life I want when what I want is freedom, but what I want is also security and survival. It seems like we're in kind of like a here's 3 things, pick 2 triangle where my time can be dedicated to me and the things that I want, dedicated to my family, my friends, and building a community, or dedicated to work and survival. Here's 3, pick 2. And I don't know what 2 to pick. I want the triangle to not be a triangle. I want reality to be different, and it isn't. So I'm just at a bit of a loss right now. There's a garden in this park that I'm curious about. I wonder if we can get in. However, people are finding that things are changing, and they can change for you too. People are doing van life. They are living nomadically. The other day, I watched a video about somebody who walked across a country. And would you believe it, that's not even the first time that I've seen a video like that. People are living all kinds of crazy and unique experiences in their lives. People are doing all kinds of things to create a survival and create a lifestyle for themselves that fits. At the end of the day, we all have free will. And I don't want to create this idea in you that you have to be a hippie, or you have to be some kind of weirdo, or you have to play it lucky, or you have to play it safe to end up living a life that resonates. So sometimes, yes, I am scared to take on those new ventures and try those new things, because so much in life so far has been that I have to follow the exact path or it doesn't work. Or even when I do follow the path, it still doesn't work, so there's definitely no way at all to deviate. But I've been playing with this question and genuinely asking myself, what if it all worked out? What if whatever it is that I want to do, whatever idea I've talked myself out of, whatever interest that has sparked in me, what if it ended up exactly how I wanted it to? And that makes what I should do feel like a bit different of a decision. I'm still trying to get myself to believe that I can be different and to figure out what that difference even is for me. Like, I don't know what the perfect life for me is because it's hard to think about. I feel like I should be imagining something realistic, but it's like, if I were a little kid, my imagination would know no bounds. I would, be a unicorn that eats flying pancakes for breakfast every day, And so as an adult, with the biases that I have and the binds that society puts on me, it's hard to really think fully freely, be fully imaginative, and really let myself envision what I want my life to be, regardless of anything, regardless of what anyone's ever said, regardless of what anyone decides my worth is based on. If it all worked out and there were no consequences for doing any of this, what would life be? So to answer that prior question, if I could walk away from my life right now, at least in this moment, I think I would really like to travel. I am scared of leaving my friends. I've built a great community in California, but I just feel like there's so much more of the world that I want to see, and I'm not giving myself the opportunity to do that. I think I would definitely want to stop working. That one's easy peasy, squeeze the lemons. I don't even need to think about that. But the investment portfolio isn't really portfolioing at the moment for me to have money to not work. I've played with different ideas. Like, some people will work 6 months on at a high paying job and then have 6 months to themselves every year. And so they're able to make like an average person's salary, but only work half the time. And I'm like, well, I do have skills in project management. I could try and do that, but it feels risky. Everything feels risky. Some people learn to live with less, and so they work less demanding jobs with less demanding hours. And I could do that, but it feels risky. What if I need more someday? And I'm just kind of stuck in the what ifs. But if I could run away, I would stop working and I would travel. My story is still in progress. I do not fully know what the ideal, fully realized version of me and my life is. And it feels a bit unreachable, even if I did know. But I don't think I'm going to be satisfied being unsatisfied either. I don't think I'm going to be able to build contentment in a life that just isn't working for me. My consistent need to think about it and try and find a way out over the past couple of years is clear evidence of that. I have a job now. It serves its current purpose. And I just got my project management certification. Like, I'm on a path right now of increasing my income so I can give myself more options. And once I realize what those options are, I do think I'm going to want to go for them, because I just don't think I'm going to be able to settle. All right. We've been at this park long enough. That community garden was super cute, but I do have to go home, so let's wrap this up. We are now right back where we started, because thematically it makes sense. One YouTube video is not enough time to completely come to a conclusion on this life conundrum, but it is enough time to start asking yourself, and for me to start asking myself, some meaningful questions. If you could run away from your life and do it all over again, what would you do? If you're to assume that whatever you did would work out, how would that change your actions today? And genuinely take a second to really look at your life. Take inventory of everything that you've done, that you believe, that you are, and of the path that you are on. And ask yourself, truly, is this the life that you want to live? If not, it's time to do some more exploration, and these videos might help you out with that. I will see you guys all next time, in which I will continue being in my 20s and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I'll see you guys then, and until then, toodaloo.